Hi everyone, my name is Atat and you're watching Atat on Call. This video is 11 ways to become a travel nurse within a month. And as you probably guessed, I am a travel nurse. I have been travel nursing for over 2 years now, and it's absolutely the best decision I have ever made. And I know that anxiety of like, should I do it, should I not do it, how do I do it, what does it take? And this video is for you. It's for people who want to become nurses, who are thinking about it, people who are in nursing school and know they want to be a travel nurse, or people who are currently nurses and looking into travel nursing. So we're going to get into it. And overall, just to let you know, I look at my phone because it has all my notes in there, so I might look down here and there. But overall, this channel is for all things nursing related and then some. So if you have questions, comments, please leave them below, like the video, and subscribe if you're interested in hearing more. But we will get into it. So you guys know I'm new at this, so I don't know whether to look here or to look here. We'll find out. So let's start. The very first thing, if you're going to become a travel nurse, number one is that you have to decide that you're going to do it. You're not going to put out any excuses. You're not going to say, well, maybe I'll do it in 5 years. Maybe I should. Oh, what if it's scary? What if the nurses aren't going to be nice? What if I get the worst assignments? I honestly haven't had that since I've been travel nursing. I haven't had the bad assignments. I haven't had the mean nurses. You know, I probably had more of that when I was a floor nurse, but it's been an amazing experience. You just have to decide for yourself that this is what you're going to do and you need to do it. That's the first thing. Two, you need to gain the experience. Like, you have to be able to hit that ground running and to be able to operate safely and effectively on your own. A lot of the times when you find these contracts, the hospitals, the travel nurse agencies are going to confirm that you have the experience. A lot prefer at least 2 years, 2 solid years of acute care or in the specialty that you're applying for. So if you've done 1 year, I have actually recently seen contracts for 1 year of experience, but don't set yourself up for failure. You want to have practice on the floor long enough to where you can see you've seen multiple types of clinical situations, to where if you see them outside of your hospital where you don't have all the backup, you don't know everybody, that you still know how to respond properly. You still know when to call a doctor. You still know when to put on oxygen. You still know, oh, my EVD isn't closed and this patient's like moving around and stuff. Or you still know how to level an art line. You still know how to change a Foley and don't need someone to assist you. You still know how to place an NG tube. You know how to do that without someone assisting you. You want to be able to function independently and safely on your own before you even consider travel nursing. Keep in mind that when you go to these new hospitals, sometimes you only have half a day orientation, 1 day of orientation. The longest orientation I had was a week, but it was 3 days on Epic training, which I already knew, but you get 2 days on the floor, and it's not holding your hand. A lot of times the nurses are doing their own thing. They're just showing you how to log on, where the bathrooms are, where you can find, chucks, where you can find clean linen, how to call and answer the phones, and then you're off on your own. So just be able to hit the ground running. So number 3 would be to collect your references. You want at least 2. When I started, I was asked for 2. I had 3. So you want at least a supervisor and a charge nurse. 2 charge nurses, 2 supervisors, nurse manager, whatever mix you want, but just make sure they're your superiors on the floor. And then a lot of your nursing agencies will usually have a sheet that they'll have you hand into them, and then they'll just fill it out like, she's great at this, great at this, great at this. They'll hand it back to you. You'll send it in to them. They may call the references to confirm that they filled it out, or they may not, and then you're set to go. Keep in mind that as you travel nurse, keep those sheets on hand. So when you finish the assignment, give it to a supervisor, have them fill it out, a charge nurse, supervisor, whatever, because a lot of times they expire after a year and you need new references from your new contract. So just keep that in mind. Let's see. Number 4 is get your documents together. You want everything. You want your vaccination records, so you need your varicellas, your Hep B's, you need your MMR, you need your Tdap records, you need your current T-spot or PPD, quantiferum, whatever. You need your references, resume, all of that. Get that all in one file on your computer and keep it there always. So as you add things for like your BCLS, ACLS, PALS, you can keep it in one place. So when you're applying to a new job, when it's requested of you, you have it there. Your certifications for NIS or the NIH, your certifications for stroke, everything you have, just keep it on one file, preferably in your computer, because a lot of things aren't handed in physically now, especially with COVID, but even before that, a lot of it's just emailing and uploading. So once you have all of that, you're going to make sure your resume is polished up. You should always keep your resume up to date after you finish assignment. Put that on your resume. It takes about 10 minutes and move on to the next assignment. Add that. And before you're going to start your assignment, you're going to make sure that it has all of your certifications, all of your accomplishments, all the floors you've worked on, all of your skills. Clean it up, get it set, and sent to your recruiter. It doesn't need to be like the best resume you've ever written. It just needs to clearly speak to what you know and what you've accomplished and where you've worked as a travel nurse. Because a lot of times, not as a travel nurse, but as a nurse in general, because a lot of times you're going to just upload that electronically, but you always want to have a resume ready. So number 6, after you've got all your documents, your resume, everything ready, you're going to find a travel agency that you have heard of from a friend, that you've heard good reviews on, that you just have a good feeling about, and you're going to apply. Once you apply, a recruiter will contact you, and it's important to click with your recruiter. I've had some hot mess recruiters. You can always request a new one if you don't like it. You can always request a new agency. Recruiters will start calling you like crazy. Don't answer if they're bombarding you. Let them know that you're going with someone else. Let them know that you'll contact them. Go with the person that you feel is the most personable, really. The person that, if you're saying you want a vaccine job in California, that they're not saying, oh, what about an ICU job in New York? You want them to work for you and to advocate for you and to find you the best paying contracts and the contracts that make you happy. But you want them to also be listening to what you're saying. Sometimes they want to push something on you that you're not even interested in. Don't do that, That's the luxury of travel nursing. You get to pick what you want, where you want to go. You kind of get to negotiate your pay. Keep that in mind. Also, don't let your recruiter make it seem like you're obligated to say yes to an assignment. It's okay to ask about assignment and to ask about ratios and get those calls back. And just because they answer doesn't mean you're obligated to that. Just how they're figuring out if you're a good fit, you need to figure out if you're a good fit for them. So once you do that, you're going to submit all of your documents that you've collected to the agency. You're going to do a skills test. Sometimes it's a graded skills test, like with clinical scenarios, meds, nursing math. And then sometimes it's just the skills checklist where it's like EBDs, very comfortable, not comfortable at all. Adolescents, very comfortable, not at all. It'll be like, what am I thinking? You know what I mean? You'll just have different things like chest tubes, very comfortable, not comfortable at all, just so that they can assess. And you need to be honest on this. You don't want to say you're very comfortable with whatever. You don't want to say you're very comfortable with EVDs and NG tubes and all of that stuff if you've never done it and you're not comfortable at all. Just be honest. Then your agency is going to send you for a drug test. They're going to send you for a physical and a PPD. They usually pay for that. I've actually never paid for one on my own. They'll send you the documents. You'll go in. You'll do the drug screen there. You'll do your physical. If you wear glasses or contacts, make sure you have those in because there is a vision test. And then they'll place a PPD if you don't have an updated one from your hospital. I prefer T-spot because I just prefer them draw the blood and us move on. so you don't have to come back and have it read. You have to ask your agency if they'll approve that, because it just tends to cost a little bit more than a PPD. And then modules. You're going to complete a ton of modules when you first start. Modules for your agency and modules for the hospital. Confirm with your recruiter if those modules are paid or not, because it's hectic. It's really hectic to try to figure that out after the fact. If they're paid, that's great. What check is it going to be on, and how much are we being compensated for that? If they're not paid, let's not even talk about that, because sometimes they can take hours. They should be paid. I've never not been reimbursed, but I have had to ask after the fact, and it's been a mess. So everything is a contract here. Make sure you confirm everything prior to starting. You need to find out where you're going to be staying. Let's say you live in Nevada and you're going to take assignment in San Francisco. Where are you going to live? Do you have friends or family? Because that would be ideal. It'll save you a ton of money. But if not, there's Airbnb, which I'm not necessarily endorsing because they cost a ton of money. Remember, they're going to charge you so they can make a profit for the homeowner, and they're going to charge you to make a profit for themselves. So you're going to be paying just a ton more with Airbnb. But I have stayed with them multiple times on contracts. Then there's also Furnished Finders, which is one of my favorites. It's a website where homeowners lease spaces, homes, apartments, rooms, whatever, for travel nurses specifically. And it tends to be a lot cheaper because there aren't all those inflated fees. It's just you and the homeowner. And once you do find housing, remember you're going to need to put a deposit down most likely. And so usually I know when I put the deposit down, we're doing this. We're locked in because I'm not about to lose that money. Let's see, review your housing decision. Number 8 is you're going to decide on a contract. This is so important. So you find an assignment. You say you're going to San Francisco. You're going to work at this hospital. This is what you want to do. The pay sounds good to you. So your recruiter is going to create a contract. You're going to look at it, and you're going to know the pay at first. Let's say they say $2,000 a week, but you're like, I for sure want, like $2,300 because the hospital requires you to pay for your parking. You need $2,300 net, not gross, so net after taxes. You can negotiate with your recruiter. Usually, I've never tried to negotiate and couldn't get nothing more. There's always room to negotiate. Look at it. Ask your recruiter before you agree to the contract, before you agree with the assignment, if the hospital is willing to pay more, if your contract's willing to pay more, and usually you can get a little bit. Always negotiate. And then I'll also do a video on how to read and review a negotiated contract. But the next one, 8B, would be review your contract. Make sure everything is right. I mean, I've had contracts where I was working night shift and it said day shift. Contracts where we agreed on 3/12s, but it said 4/12s. Contracts where the money, like the numbers, like my weekly pay was completely off. Review every single detail of your contract. Make sure it lines up with what you talked about, because once it's signed, it's signed. And unless someone's willing to go back and be like, oh yeah, I guess it was a mistake, we'll fix it. But just make sure your money looks right, the numbers look right, the calculations come out right to what you get paid, the dates, your time off, everything. Just make sure everything is what you spoke with your recruiter about, and it matches up with your conversations. That is so important, because trust me, I've had a lot of issues, with the growing pains of being a travel nurse. Read your contracts. And then the next one is explore the cost of living. So you should do this before you even choose on a contract. Let's say you were a California nurse and now you want to travel to Texas as a travel nurse. You might be making less because California nurses get paid so much, but the cost of living is going to go down a lot. So that matters. Or let's say you're going to be in Texas, you live in Texas, but you're going to California, the cost of living goes up significantly. So you need to explore, like you're going to be probably paying like $2,000 plus in rent for something very small. Account for that in your checks. So you're going to walk yourself to your supervisor, your nurse manager, whatever, and you're going to submit your letter of resignation, and that will be that. You're done. So after that, you're going to pack your bags You're going to say goodbye to your friends, have a going away party, and regard to packing your bags, as a travel nurse, try to travel light. I'm guilty of packing the world, and it's really a hassle. Try not to collect too much. If you're going to nurse in Wyoming for the winter, you don't need your booty shorts, you don't need your mini skirts, you just need warm clothes, your scrubs, and if you're going to be hiking a lot, just things that make sense for your assignment and what you're going to be doing with your life. Try not to overpack, but that has been growing pains for me. I still overpack. I still don't know how I'm going to get all this in my car for my next assignment. So that's one piece of advice. But after you've done all that, you dip. You've said goodbye, you've finished up your housing stuff, you've applied, your contract signed, your hospital's waiting for you, your recruiter's going to message you a couple days before, the day of, and the day after to follow up and make sure everything's good. You're like good to go. Like you just dip. You pack up your car, you get on that flight, and you become a travel nurse. You're officially a travel nurse. So I hope this video was helpful. It is 11 ways on how to become a travel nurse in 1 month. So I hope that was helpful. Please like, comment, subscribe. And my name again is Ata, and you're watching A Town Call. I will see you on the next one.